Welcome to this module, which is entitled Saber versus Conocer. Now, as some of you may or may not know, there are two verbs in Spanish for to know. We have saber, which we've already worked with, and we have conocer. So the question is how to pick the correct one to use when you're speaking Spanish. So let's talk about saber first. At the heart of saber is this idea of knowing something, meaning a fact or some kind of information. So some examples would be, I know who the president is. Okay, so this is something that you know, it's a fact or some kind of information. Equally, you could have, I know where my keys are. I know how old he is. I know that 2 + 2 = 4, and so forth. It's when you know some kind of information or some kind of fact. Now, if we contrast that with conocer, conocer is really about to be familiar with or to be acquainted with people, places, and things. So, for example, you could have a sentence in English that went, I know Pablo. But what's that? That is implying that I'm acquainted with Pablo. We could, substitute I know for I'm acquainted with. Equally, this one, I know that restaurant, meaning I'm familiar with that restaurant, I'm acquainted with it. Or I know Mexican food, you could say I'm acquainted or very familiar with Mexican food. This one as well, I know the works of Picasso. You see, in English, we're always using I know, I know, I know. But whenever I know implies more I'm familiar with the works of Picasso, for example, that is a sign that you're going to use conocer and not saber. What we'll do now is a little bit of practice. All you have to do is choose between saber or conocer for the following examples. I know him. This would be conocer because what we're saying is I'm acquainted with him, right? He's a person. I know the date today. This would be saber, right? Because it's information, something you know. I know the restaurant. This would be conocer because, again, it would sound very natural to say I'm familiar with that restaurant or I'm acquainted with that restaurant. I know his work. This is conocer because, again, you could say I'm familiar with his work. I know which floor his office is on. This is saber, right? Because it's information or fact even. I know that film very well. This is conocer because you can say I'm very familiar with that film or acquainted with that film. I know when she will arrive today. This is saber because it's information. Now, this video was just a very short introduction to the concept of the differences between saber and conocer. In the next video, we'll go into things much more deeply.